Welcome in, everybody, to Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare. Go to GracePointeHealthcare.com. Mention you're with 8-Man Extreme when you request your appointment online. $20 off your new patient office visit fee. GracePointe Healthcare, modern medicine the old-fashioned way. Sponsored by Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, and Goodlettsville. Let's get Jets. I was laughing a little bit because, as I said, welcome everybody in. The amp popped on our headset, and James just started laughing. And
No. What I was laughing about was every week when we do the show, especially the ones I'm here, when we first started doing this intro, it was that we had to get the timing down. So I would bring him in, and this time I went to go bring him in, and about the time I started to make the motion, the gesture, he started, and I was like, oh, man, you beat me to it. Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think I got it down at this point.
We
Probably.
have too much fun.
Yeah, we do. Keep Zachary in your thoughts. Condolences. He's doing all right.
Aren't condolences for people who die?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you could say condolences.
The phrase is thoughts and prayers.
Here, let me ask. Hey, Siri, define condolences.
Copyright.
No, it's Siri. It's an expressive sympathy, but especially on the occasion of death.
Okay.
That's especially, though. That doesn't necessarily mean it's solely for that.
Jack, have you ever heard anyone use the word condolences outside of a funeral or a showing?
I've only heard it whenever I've had a friend pass away, so
Facts.
That's the only thing I can really say to it.
Again, especially in that case, but you
here
can
you
use
You could
it.
say T's. You can do what Pat McAfee says and say T's and P's.
The point I'm making is it can be used. It doesn't mean it is always
The phrase
used.
is thoughts and prayers, or you could say T's and P's.
I don't say
like Pat
thoughts and
McAfee.
prayers. I say thoughts and condolences.
You could say T's and P's.
No.
Okay.
I won't. No, I will do.
Keep them in your thoughts.
I will tread on my own path. It's just like when people say this or this one of the two, I say this or this one of the seven. You got to find a way to stay unique in this world.
What?
I keep people on their toes. That when I tell we're either going to do this game this week or this one. One of the seven. Again, you got to keep
It's
people.
a private school education for me.
Well,
it has nothing to do with that. I've been saying that long before they.
All right.
anything on
Okay.
that.
It's the private school education for me.
Yeah, yours is.
Come on. Come on. Hit me with something. Come on.
No, I'm not
Jack,
gonna
hit me with
you.
something. Producer Jack, hit me with something.
Square root of
no.
pi. Oh. He asked you to hit him with something.
It's the crackhead look for me.
What?
what I was trying to get to before, because I don't know anything to ask you. What I was gonna say about Zachary, what we should be saying is everyone wish him a happy birthday.
Oh yeah, happy
Facts.
birthday! Should we do it? Should we sing?
No,
Absolutely
we should.
no,
absolutely
yeah.
not.
My voice is still shut.
Oh, you don't have a way to do it. I was gonna say,
Yes,
can
I
you
do.
cue up some birthday music?
Yes,
Well, I mean, it's going
legit-
to be copyright infringement on it. In some
No,
regard,
just pull up like somebody randomly singing "Happy Birthday."
Just do something like that. Maybe
Jack, this one's for or Zach. This one's for you,
Yeah.
buddy.
pull this up. Oh, well, that's not it. That wasn't.
That is not the birthday song.
I heard it was somebody's birthday. I heard it was somebody's birthday.
This is for
Yeah.
Zachary.
PJ Penn a birthday song.
Are you sure this is clean?
Yeah, today is your
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna stop it
We'll
before he
just
gets
stop
started.
it there.
Yeah, we'll stop there. Hope that YouTube doesn't strike us, and we'll go from there.
YouTube gods, please don't.
We'll go from there. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
You sure we're live?
Yeah, of
Yes.
course we are.
Yes.
That's how it always be.
Okay. All right. There it is. I was
Week-
looking for the video.
Week 9 has concluded around the region of teams that we cover, and we head into Week 10, but we have to recap the games that we were not at as well as the games that we were present at. So,
Yo, it's dope having a producer.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
It's
it
just
is
like birthday
100%.
music on cue.
Yeah.
All right,
Yo.
let's go in order. So we'll start with the game that was held in the state of Alabama, the only game of the teams we cover 100% that was outside of the state, and we'll go with the Evangel Christian School Lightning in their second game hosting the Freedom Cowboys this year. Usually they trade off a game, but Evangel decided to host the game there this year, 49-32, and Evangel with a red-hot win against the Tennessee Heat the previous week. They just get it done again at home. It's very difficult to win in the environment of the Evangel Sports Complex, and especially with Jet Lodge at the helm of that offense.
Yeah, I mean, after the first quarter, Freedom actually had a 20-8 lead, And Evangel just, they started chipping away at it. At halftime, it was 26-16. And then in the fourth quarter, through the third quarter, Evangel was able to just absolutely take off. And that happened in that first game this year between the two. This was the original scheduled game, and then they both had a bye week, so they played another game. But in both of them, a close game at halftime. That one was tied at 14 at halftime. And then 4 turnovers in the third quarter. Evangel was able to take advantage of that. But in this one, Evangel able to come back and take a 36-26 lead going into the fourth quarter. And then just from there, they stayed consistent, and the 49-32 win. So big win for the Lightning after a little hiccup against Ezekiel Academy. But good showing for both teams, and for Freedom, the struggles continue.
Yeah, Freedom has a whole lot of struggles that have been going on for them, and as of now, they did have a bye week, but they managed to pick up a game against East Coast Homeschool. And following that, they finished out the season at the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. And for Evangel,
and then the following week is the Independence Bowl.
They finished their regular season with Sacred Heart, but then have the Independence Bowl against Tennessee. And that one this time is in Huntsville, Alabama. And for Evangel, they have a game next week, as I pull up Max Preps here to make sure I get it right, unless you've already got them there.
For Evangel? No, I don't have Evangel pulled up. While you're pulling it up, just a little history for our listeners in Alabama. You probably already know this, but East Coast Homeschool out of Moody, Alabama. I'm not sure where that is. They had a football team about 10 years ago for 2 years. All the juniors and seniors graduated. They couldn't get it going, so they shut it down. And then a couple years ago, they actually decided to bring it back. So they're in the conference with Ezekiel and Evangel and Lighthouse Homeschool. So what?
So it's a collision of the Evangel Christians next week.
Oh,
it's on the road in Montgomery against the Evangel Christian Academy Lions. So the Lightning and the Lions.
And give me a second, and we'll see.
Yeah,
so Moody is it's about, looks like it's like 20 minutes from Birmingham east towards Pell City. So towards Talladega. That might be something that y'all recognize. So
Talladega Nights. Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Talladega Super Speedway.
Talladega Nights as well. That's a good movie.
You hear Talladega, producer Jack,
Talladega?
When you hear Talladega, do you think Talladega Nights or Talladega Super Speedway?
Super Speedway.
Thank you.
Right. I don't watch NASCAR as much as I should.
I don't watch NASCAR either.
Hold on, let me.
I just have culture.
You know the culture.
The culture is very important.
It is, but. You just hear that from the producer. They can hear the speedway.
That's not the right Evangel.
Evangel Christian Academy Lions. They're 3-2 overall, 3-1 in their conference.
No, let me see. Which one do you? The purple one? Yeah, that's the right one.
Yep.
So 3-2. Okay. Gotcha.
3-2 overall, 3-1 in the league, and that's the final game of the regular season for Evangel. So that next game is actually on October 30th. So they have a bye week. They have a little bit of a rest from their tough season thus far. Then their away game before they play the state championship against likely Ezekiel Academy is going to be their opponent.
And this Evangel, again, I know this is a couple weeks down the road. This Evangel Christian on Montgomery. An interesting situation to keep an eye on is the other conference in Alabama, the CFA. Jacksonville Christian, Russell Christian, the two best records. This Evangel Christian team lost to Russell but beat Jacksonville Christian, who used to play 11 and came down to 8. They beat them 28-22. So this will be a tough one for Evangel, I think. But again, that game is next week, so we'll talk about it next week.
Well, 2 weeks time from now at least.
No. The games this Friday are this week, and then the games next Friday are next week. This week, next week.
It's in week 11. It's in week 11.
I don't know what calendar your school worked off of, but my week started on Sunday.
What?
We'll see how it goes.
Partner, huh?
So
Wait,
congratulations. Are you
what
looking
do
at
you mean
your fantasy
week
again?
started at Sunday? No, I'm not talking about fantasy. I'm talking about your week started
Why do you
Sunday.
Yeah.
That okay.
What do your week start?
Monday? Like a normal individual?
No, your week starts on Sunday.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. That way you start your week with a day off and you end your week with a day off. They're bookends.
No. You Sundays are a chill day. You start the week off working like a man. I'm not.
I
I'll
start
play-
Monday
I'll
off
play
working
around.
like I could be working 7 o'clock in the morning, son. You
listen.
might roll over and let some gas out and think about me and go back to sleep.
You're absolutely right. I would.
As for the games that happened in Tennessee, Franklin Classical School, congratulations to Coach Austin on his second win overall as a head coach, collided with LeBron Ferguson and company in Franklin, 32-28. One of those games that came down to the wire, and for Providence Christian, it's their first season, trying to get the full swing of things, and on the road, they had a chance to get the victory there. It's just that Franklin Classical, even with injuries ridden, they were able to get the win at home.
Yeah, you absolutely hate to hear that guys like Josh Salstrom are out for the year. We obviously knew Clay Lott was out for the year, a couple seniors that have really been impactful. But, just a back-and-forth game the whole night, and Providence Christian scoring, I don't know the timing. I know if I read the message correct, then Classical started their drive with, hang on, I want to get this right. They started their drive with 45 seconds left in the game. And I think they had, 3 or 4 plays. We watched about 3 or 4 plays.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hubbard to Gracie for the touchdown. And didn't get the 2-point conversion, but it didn't matter. They got the win. And for Providence, another game, they were right on the doorstep, like right there. And I think that says a lot about Providence and and their coaching and the players that they have. They're going to be somebody to keep an eye on next year. Absolutely,
Yep.
because as dangerous as they're showing themselves to be this year, their only holdback is an experience. That's it. Once you get a little bit of experience under your belt and some of these guys coming back, holy cow.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. This Coach Ferguson knows what he's doing, and again, it's the same thing I mentioned about when it comes to Isaiah Austin. Same thing with compared to Coach Flanders and Coach Ferguson. It takes time to build a winning culture. It takes time when you are a new head coach to be able to get things going. And that's also the case. I mean, even more recently, Ryan Scott. That's even a more amazing case of that is they only have 1 loss on the year, unbeaten in 8-man football thus far. So it's just one of those cases where
In Tennessee.
In Tennessee, it takes
I
time.
was about to say, they lost to Evangel.
Takes time to build a winning culture.
But they're there.
Mhm.
They're there. And big news, speaking of them, they have committed to going to Panama City to the NHSA tournament.
Which one is?
The Heat.
The Heat, yeah.
The Heat are going.
Yeah,
they're locked in. They're going.
Yeah, I believe Fort Bluff is still doing the
No.
NACA.
So they decided to hold off on doing it this year
just because of everything going down.
with everything going on, and so the Heat they're committed to going to NHSA. I hope I was allowed to let that go public.
Yeah.
I think I was, maybe.
We'll find out if we get a call after the show.
That's how it
Facts.
usually works.
Facts.
But-
But that just gives us more of a chance that, maybe we could get that Ezekiel Heat game.
Yeah, we could possibly see that either in the semis for Florida or maybe in the national championship. Maybe they get perfectly matched up against each other.
If we get it in the semis, I mean, we still get it. But and to be fair, you've got the Pac. Oh, to be fair, you've got the Pac Panthers out of South Carolina who've been playing really well. Obviously, if you're NHSA and Hank, you're trying to get maybe either Russell Christian or Jacksonville Christian, one of the two from that other Alabama conference. 2 teams that are having really good seasons. So I mean, we're set for some good postseason football regardless. Russell Christian sitting at 7-1, and I want to say Jacksonville is 7-1 as well. But anyways.
Congratulations to Franklin Classical School on the win. We'll see the Heat in Florida. They were actually off this week, but congratulations to Classical on the win. Next week they have the Battle of Franklin as they go right down the street to collide with the Franklin Christian Academy Falcons. And as for Providence Christian, they have an extra day of rest as they travel up to Smyrna on October 24th to collide with the Lancaster Christian Academy Lions.
To clear up
Knights.
I was about to say, to clear up what I was saying, in that other Alabama conference, because Ezekiel and Evangel are in one with Lighthouse and East Coast, and then there's another conference. Jacksonville Christian Academy and Russell Christian Academy are both at 7-1. So there's a lot of good football teams out there this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good teams.
Oh, yeah. Other game that we were not at that we almost went to, but ended up going down to Fayetteville. What a defensive game. 14-6. Franklin Christian solidifies their number 1 seed in the South, so they're champions of the South for the first time since, I believe, 2015, since they've been champions of the South.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Franklin Christian on that. The road to the championship goes through Springfield in the north and Franklin Christian in the south. But 14-6, and Bragg was in the game. They were on a 50-by-100 field. Everything just perfectly aligned to where, and you look at the box score in that as well. Franklin Christian scored, I believe, 14 in the second quarter, and then only touchdown the Lancaster had was in the third quarter. So that first and fourth quarter, heavily defensive.
And it was a quick first quarter too. I think you guys were like halfway through your first quarter.
Yeah, halfway through because we had a lot of stoppages.
And then I got the update, so then I updated the app, and it was like, hey, they're done with their first quarter. Which y'all's game, well, how long was that? 2 hours and 45 minutes?
Ours? Something like that.
Ours?
Let's
Yeah.
see how
Longer
long.
than that.
Yeah, it may have been even
It was
longer.
like
Look at that.
3:05, 3:10.
Okay.
Let's
I
see.
feel like.
To look on the broadcast here, our broadcast, we went off the air after 3 hours and 22 minutes. And
Yeah, so the game was
that's
like
including
3:15.
pregame and
So the game was
postgame.
probably about 2:50.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that.
Because if you
2:53
start
hours.
15 minutes early and then
Yep.
okay, so but still, I mean,
This is a long game.
a long game.
Let me just interrupt really quick. Shout out to Ryan Scott for that was public knowledge.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So we aren't in
Yeah,
trouble.
We're good. We're good.
We
we're
aren't
good,
in
we're good.
trouble.
Yeah, thank Ryan Scott. Ryan. Anyways,
By the way, FCA is a 40-yard wide field this year.
40
not
yard
52.
wide, but
It is
100.
It is 100 yards.
Yep. So 40 wide, but even then, it's still with that shortened length. I mean, what was the kryptonite for Lancaster?
Man, it was just that this FCA defense, teams have found out the hard way all year. It's hard to move the ball on that defense. Coach Johnson has done a good job with these guys. But then, you have your constant, your steady on that defense, and that's Shaka Hill. And Shaka has gotten these boys to a point where you're not moving the ball on them that much. By the way, timeout. Shout out to Mr. Hank St. Dennis for listening. Let's give him a round of applause.
Yeah, Hank
Russell
St. Dennis.
Christian has lost 2 games. They did lose to Ezekiel earlier this year, and they also lost to Jacksonville Christian. So Jacksonville Christian at 8-1, Russell at 7-2. Still the 2 better teams in that conference, but I digress.
Anyways,
But where was I at?
Lancaster's kryptonite.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to move the ball against that.
Shaka
That,
Hill
that
defense.
FCA defense, yeah, just and Shaka's been a constant.
Yep.
He's been there since 2013,
So,
I think. I know he was there in 14.
maybe even 2011, I think.
no,
Or
no,
2012.
Might have been 20. It was 2012 or 2013. Which it's sad that I don't remember because I did an interview with him and we talked about this. But it was also 2 years ago and I've slept since then. But it's you can't do it. And you look at the points so far. Of course, South Haven put up the 18 on them, but that was all first half. And then since then, you've had Ezel Harding get shut out. Riverside Christian scored 0. I believe Providence, if I'm not mistaken, let me see how many points Providence put up on them. I don't think there were that many points.
Providence against who?
Providence put up 16. We did
Against
that
FCA,
game.
yeah.
So they put up 16. South Haven put up 18. Ezel Harding got shut out. Riverside put up 6. Lancaster put up 6. And I feel like FCA no, because FCA is 5-0, I believe.
Let's see. FCA.
Yes, because they were
beat
off
South
last
Haven.
week.
Beat Providence, beat Ezel Harding, and then beat Riverside and Lancaster. So they've only got 4 of their games reported in the Tennessee High School football app, at least on the results page.
Well, they've got 5 on. They got 4 on Max Preps, but they're 5-0.
You didn't report their game against Riverside Christian.
No?
Well, I mean, maybe it's an error on the results thing.
No,
if
it's
on there.
there. Yeah, it's there.
Okay, so that's just an error on the apps part because I went to the team and looked at the results.
Yeah,
page.
I was about to say.
Yep, it's showing up on Riverside, so it's just an error on theirs. But anyways.
But my point being,
Yeah.
you're not putting up a whole lot of points on Franklin Christian's defense this
Nope.
year. And hey, guess what? I'm gonna go on the record. I missed on Franklin Christian.
Big time.
Go ahead, bask in it, enjoy it. I'm not afraid. Listen, I'll rub it in when I'm right, and I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was wrong.
What season have you missed the most games on your predictions?
I don't know. I've slept since then.
I know you did 10. You missed 10 last year.
I've
Now you're
slept
at.
I've surpassed that this year.
Yeah, you're at 14.
Thanks for me. Wow, it sounds bad when you say it like that.
I'm just asking.
Hang on. Let's see.
And again, these are preseason.
So last week I went, not this past week, the week before that, I went 2-3. I went, let's see. I picked Classical and South Haven, I think. So I would have got, no, I went 2-0.
Okay. You got Classical and South Haven right. And then
Yeah. I went 1-1. I picked Classical beat South CCS, and then I picked South Haven. So I went 1-1. So going off of that,
and then you picked the Tennessee Heat to beat Evangel.
Okay, so factoring in 1-1. So I went 2-3 this last week.
Mm-hmm. Then
So
Thompson
so
went
I've
3 and
missed
2.
13. So I've missed 13 this year.
Okay, 13 so far. Okay. Anyways, but with
Now that's cleared up.
Yep. Now with all that cleared up, congratulations, Franklin Christian. The road to the championship in the South goes through Franklin at Jim Warren Park, and for for FCA, of course, they have the Battle of Franklin next week. Does not have any impact on playoff seeding since they 3-0 and have the tiebreaker in the necessary places that they need. But for Lancaster Christian, they have a non-division altering game against Providence Christian on Saturday the 24th, and then they close out their season colliding with the Ezel Harding Christian School Eagles to fight for a right to host a playoff game in the first round for the second year in a row. And the shootout that we were at in Fayetteville, wow, 86-66. Ezel Harding.
That's not a basketball game.
It was
It's
a
not.
slow
It
game,
was
to be honest.
It was
was
slow.
what?
It was
It was.
I don't mean slow in like pacing and score. I mean like it was just like it. No, I do mean pacing. It took. We were just there a long time.
Yeah.
And it was a fun game to watch and everything and commentate. I really enjoyed it, but like, it wasn't like there was only like I think 3 scores in the entire game that like offense marched down the field to score. You know what I mean?
quick.
So it was like
It was the complete opposite. You might not remember, but you remember. Like, it was the complete opposite of like a Swanee and let's see who else ran that kind of offense. Maybe like a what game was really fast? Like a Swanee Riverside. That was pretty quick. One
I
of those
wasn't at
Swanee
that
Riverside.
game. I wasn't
Well,
at
no,
that
we
game
did-
in
we did-
2017.
We did one game together.
Oh, yeah, we did 2018. It was Swanee Riverside. Yeah, that one was more quick because they
a
run
quicker.
the ball. Yeah,
Swanee always had quick games
yeah.
though.
Yeah,
Because they ran
they rarely passed.
the wing tee,
okay.
and so the
I have
quarterback would
P-
end up with like 150 rushing yards.
I have PTSD over wing tee offenses because Oakland used to run a wing tee offense, and we could never stop it. So we just get pummeled for playoff time.
Being updated, the current standings on the pick'em is 25-11 to 24-12. So I miscounted.
No,
I
only
still missed 12. Goodness.
Yeah,
like
man.
there's 24 that I got right, but the 12 bugs me.
Sometimes records are meant to be broken.
That's true.
Sometimes
What I'm
they-
gonna have to do at the end of the season though is I'm gonna go back and see what the final records were compared to what I
It
predicted
was last year, yeah.
Because I know, like for Ezel Harding, I picked them at 4-4. Now they're 4-3, and that like
They're 3-3.
they're 3-3.
Yeah, so they still have the chance to go 4-4. It's just you missed out some games.
Yeah, that's right. They're 3-3. They play Sacred Heart, which
Sacred
I'll
Heart
predict
and
that
then
one later,
hosting
and then
Lancaster.
host Lancaster. So they could still go 4-4.
Yep, it's possible. But anyways, yeah, congratulations, Franklin
But is it probable?
Christian and Lancaster on that Ezel Harding Riverside, 86-66. At one point, it was 58-50 at the end of the third quarter. 58-50 at the end of the third, which
That's
was
the final score of the Lancaster Riverside
yeah,
game.
and I mentioned that on air. And for it to go from that to 86-66, it the other tough part of it is 2-year anniversary. It was homecoming night for Riverside, 2-year anniversary for Creasy being diagnosed with leukemia. So it seemed like everything aligned to where Riverside could have come out with the win. But it's a testament to how Ezel Harding's defense and Jamari Liddell is really keeping them in that game, and they now have a chance to defend their state title.
But here's my question, Jack, producer Jack.
Yes.
If that game is played, take the 80 away, 80, 100, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If that no, keep it in there because that's 20 more yards you got to chase somebody down. So put that game on CCS's field, an 80-40.
Okay.
Is that game 86-66?
No, it's not.
It can't be.
It's higher. I'm kidding. No, it's not. No,
It's higher
no.
scoring.
I mean, it's the whole point. The reason why there's a whole lot of scoring, and I mean, I know we've all watched the game and stuff like that, but the problem with Riverside with their defense was they were getting killed on big quarterback. It was one play, and I called it the entire night that they were scoring on. It was that fake handoff. The two guards would just pummel through on that left side, and then he just took it all the way to the house.
Liddell.
Liddell just took it over and over and over again. And the thing was, once he got into open space, that's where that 20 yards extra comes into play because you would have the defensive backs come in, and he was so fast in the field, and that's 10 yards you have to get there, and he beats them in open space. And it was a foot race the entire night, and nobody could catch up to the speedsters on each team. And that's why this game was so high scoring. You take out that additional 20 yards, people can start making those open field tackles. People can start making stops. Defense plays more of a factor. Score goes down by at least 30 points.
Speaking of Liddell, 475 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns, 20 yards per carry.
See, I called I called 300. He got 4.
Let's hope McGee gives us a Player of the Week nomination with Liddell because he officially did good. Because post-game interview, I told him about that. He's like, he better win. I'm hopefully he does. It depends on who else
and this
nominates.
makes you think about that Ezel Harding CCS game. Liddell went out early.
Yeah.
CCS was able to pull ahead and keep the lead. Liddell's in there. Is that a loss for CCS?
Yes.
I think so.
But that game was at CCS, right?
No.
It was at Ezel Harding. Okay, so they have the space.
So they have the space. So now you got to cover Liddell in that space.
But-
Well, I think they went. I think they did the 40. They did the 40 width.
Okay.
But you still have the length. And that 20 yards that you have to, if you get a 10-yard head start on somebody, adding those extra 20 yards makes a difference.
Yeah.
Especially if the offensive player's faster. But if you have a shorter field, you got more of a chance at catching them.
But to be fair, there are high-scoring games on 40 by 80 fields or by 40 width fields. Because remember, 2018, Isaiah and I did our opening game with Bowling Green FCA, and that game ended 78-50, where FCA came out on top. So even with the width, and they were both rush-heavy offenses at the time. So even with that length and width, you could still have high-scoring games.
That's fair.
Which is why I said it'd still be a high-scoring game. I'm not talking 66-86. I mean more maybe a 50-30, maybe a 50-40 kind of game.
Could have been a little
That's
bit
still
closer.
a very high scoring. I think we're just underestimating how high of a scoring that was. That's basketball scoring right there.
It was 152 points.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So we're going from 152 down to 100. So that it's not it's still a high scoring game. So
Exactly.
Yeah, just as intense. But congratulations to Ezel Harding. They have a chance to defend their state championship. And the question, of course, of them, they have I'll say a lighter game against Sacred Heart next week at home because they're not having to travel as far. But they have that game next week, and then on October 30th, their home game against Lancaster Christian will decide if they get to stay home for another week or if the road back to the championship is on the road 3 weeks straight. And as for Riverside Christian, they are in the Division II championship against Franklin Classical, but for the time being, they have a tough road game in Springfield against the South Haven Christian School Patriots. And then they finish out their season at home.
Ooh.
Well, they finish out their regular season at home against Providence Christian.
And speaking of Ezel Harding's next game next week,
I got one more game to recap. What are you trying to segue?
is
me
it
to?
Saturday's game?
You talking about this coming Saturday?
No, like yesterday's game.
Yeah, yesterday. That's what that's
Okay.
the game I. Have
I
to
was
recap.
trying to give you a segue.
Well, what do you mean? Speaking of Ezel Harding's game,
Ezel Harding's game next week, their opponent Speaking of that opponent,
I can segue on my own, my friend.
okay,
I got you.
whatever.
I got you.
All right. Y'all see how I get treated?
Speaking of how we get treated, I won't go there.
But
We traveled down to Jackson, and the Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights. Congratulations to Coach Blankenship. Got his first win as a head coach against the Bowling Green Warriors, 34-26. But yeah, give it up for Coach Blankenship, and company. And really interesting factor. Apparently, we were not notified of this until we didn't know about it until after the game. Jake Keel was out. Had a quad injury, so
didn't know until we showed up at the field,
and we didn't even see him on the sideline.
No,
he wasn't even there. So he
unless he was wearing a different jersey or he was plain clothes.
Yeah, it's one of the two. But the only senior they had playing in the game, Bastable, showed up and put them in so many good situations to lead them to the W, and that's just a testament to now. Yes, Bastable was big, but Bowling Green was down 34-14. It's either at halftime or going late in the third. Late in the third quarter.
It was like early in the fourth.
Early in the fourth, 34-14. Bowling Green crawls back, touchdown, two-point conversion, makes I believe 34 to or actually no 2-point conversion, 34-20. Come back, touchdown, missed the 2-point conversion, 34-26.
And a couple big defensive stops.
And a lot of defensive stops on Bowling Green's part. They got the ball back, couldn't convert it. There were a few times. Normally we don't diss the officiating. I will say there were some calls where Don Brown was justifiably frustrated because of some things that looked like they could have been pass interference or should have been called on those plays. Almost textbook. Now, granted, I've had this wasn't Ronnie Perkins' crew, but I've had these conversations with him of that there are 8 elements to pass interference that you have to look at. And granted, at the time of the game, I didn't go through those 8 steps or have a rule book in front of me to know exactly those 8 steps, but at least from what we looked at on replay, looked like it should have been called for pass interference. Don Brown justifiably angry. They did flag him for protesting the call and continuing to go on and on. But that's besides the point. 34-26, Sacred Heart Blankenship got his first victory as head coach, and for the Bowling Green Warriors and company, struggles unfortunately still continue.
Yeah, Bowling Green didn't score. It was 34-14 until trying to get the game pulled up. About 9 minutes left in the game. And then Bowling Green scored 2 touchdowns, and then they had the ball. I mean, this literally the situation with the Titans game today. Down a touchdown, had the ball. They were driving. It came down to a 4th down with like 3 seconds left, and they just weren't able to convert it. But, as a matter of fact, here's the kickoff. So the kickoff after that touchdown, well, no, that's 2 touchdowns. Anyways, man. They missed a call bad.
We never really give flack to officiating crews.
But to be fair, Bowling Green kind of figured out, who they were, what they were doing. You go deep to Cam B, and then you go short with Gage Blankenship. Shane Walker had just an unbelievable game at quarterback between running the ball and throwing the ball. And then for Sacred Heart, how about my big boy Mingledorf?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Mingledorf had some good plays on there. And
my boy.
The sad thing was in that Sacred Heart Heat game. It was that Sacred Heart Heat, or actually no, 2 games back that we covered Sacred Heart. Their game against Lancaster, Vol had a lot of good kickoff returns. We didn't see him show up really on Saturday.
No.
He had a lot of good kickoff returns. I guess it's just the ball didn't get kicked towards his direction or anything. Maybe Don Brown saw the film and realized don't give him the ball on a kickoff return. But it's it's one that I'm sure he'll show up in the future games. But
exactly.
But I mean,
and 2 great defensive stands.
Yeah.
Sacred Heart had one literally on the goal line, like the Titans-Texans game earlier, which they didn't make it happen. But, they had the ball inside the 5 and 4 straight downs. Sacred Heart shut them down.
Yep.
And I would have loved to have the camera angle from there in the press box and be able to have a better shot at those plays. But I digress. We'll leave that situation alone.
Yep.
Just a great defensive stand there. And then for Bowling Green in the 4th quarter, 2 defensive stands to get the ball back, go down and score on the first one. The second one was that potential game-tying, game-winning drive, and they just weren't able to make it happen. But shout out to both teams. The game was incredible. For it to be a Saturday afternoon game at 2 o'clock between two winless teams, it was an incredible game.
Especially for Bowling
Producer
Green
Jack,
to
here you go. I don't know if you've seen it.
Okay.
Here's the play we're talking about.
Okay.
So
I've never seen this as a live reaction.
Okay.
live reaction. You
So
could
I'll say full screen.
great.
for
Now
me.
I get great.
And this is I put context. I am a, like I said, two-way player, wide receiver, defensive back that have been in situations like this.
Let me guess. They're gonna hear my audio on the call for this thing.
No, it's muted.
Okay, good. And there's Walker with the toss, deep end zone, and then there. And what do you think?
Rewind it, because I need to.
Just use the
I'll say just use the arrow keys in the bottom right.
yeah. Use the arrow keys in the bottom
just
right.
hit it like
Sit
4
back.
times.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you learn something every day.
There
I
we
didn't
go.
know you could do that. Well, that makes my life a lot easier.
Do you know about on iOS where you double tap and it goes back 10 seconds?
Well, Android does that too.
Yeah. All right, and there's that. And what you think?
He wasn't playing the ball though.
Okay. So here's the proper analysis right here. He throws the ball up, and then here's the thing. He's holding him the entire way.
That's the view right there.
So, listen.
Okay.
He is. You asked for the analysis.
Okay.
So, as he throws the ball and he goes deep, the wide receiver has him beat, and at no point does the defensive back turn around and look for a ball to make the play on the ball. Instead, he plays the wide receiver's hands, but the wide receiver doesn't engage contact back with him. He instead reads the ball and tries to go for it. But the defensive back, not reading the ball and strictly playing the hands, ends up holding him there, preventing him from making a grab. So that is obvious.
English.
That is obvious pass interference
Okay.
right there.
Yep.
I just try to give a run
I got you.
to the people that
I'm telling you, man. If Ronnie Perkins ever decides to retire from his full officiating situation, man, I'd love to have him as a rules analyst for our broadcast. I would love for him to travel with us, give us thoughts and analysis, and to help us, understand the game more so. Because we as announcers, we can call the game. Our job is to make sure we focus on the players and the statistics. There's a reason why
no statistics.
if we get statistics, but there's
or even an accurate roster.
or even
for
an
one
accurate
team.
roster for one team. There's a reason why networks have rules analysts now. It's because you're a former player, you have knowledge of the game. I'm a journalist and broadcaster. I have knowledge of giving calls the justice they deserve. Same with Jack. He's a former player and also turned journalist. With Ronnie in the booth, that would be incredible to have him the knowledge of the rules of the game. That'd be pretty awesome.
But that also means you have a booth to be in.
That is true. That is true. I thought you said we were going to leave the situation alone, man.
I'll leave it alone.
We'll leave it alone.
But still, two winless teams on a 2 o'clock on a Saturday game. Who would have thought we got the game that we got?
Right. It was
Incredible game.
Yeah, in the afternoon, and for Bowling Green to travel 3 hours in the morning. Like they showed up late at one. They showed up late a little bit at 1:15 because of the traffic. Same situation we had.
No, it doesn't matter traveling in the morning.
No, but what I'm saying is they left from Bowling Green probably
Probably about 9 o'clock.
probably about 8-9 o'clock, something like that, and then they had to delay the start of the game 10 minutes. But for that to happen, for them to travel up that early on a Saturday and have all that factor in, I mean,
I was up at 7:30.
I know you were, but again, normal waking up on a Saturday, not as many people are used to that. So,
Okay, all right.
congratulations to Sacred
What
Heart
time
and
do you
Blankenship.
usually wake up on a Saturday, Producer Jack?
like honestly or like the
Like honestly, like real talk. Like if you had to set an average time.
I'd say between like 9 and 10, somewhere around there.
What?
Yeah,
I don't have to go to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning to sleep in that late.
I mean no, that's a lot later than I
That's
used
not,
to.
and that's not hyping
It's-
me up.
when
And
I-
I'm not downing you. I'm just saying,
No, when
the
I say
like my body's programmed to get 6 hours. So
when I say 9 to 10, I mean like, and yeah, I'm up pretty late usually, but
that's
like
fair. That's fair.
I'm up at 9 and I'm in my bed till like 10 o'clock because it takes me forever once I wake up to like get motivated and start the day.
That's fair. That's fair.
Congratulations to Coach Blankenship and company for getting their first win of the season and on Senior Day. For Sacred Heart, they got the win on Saturday, and they have only about 6 days rest. Well, from now, 5 days rest until they travel to Antioch to collide with the Esau Harding Christian School Eagles. And as for the Bowling Green Warriors, still looking for their first win. They play the Tennessee Heat this coming Thursday, so they have 5 days rest to turn around, and the Tennessee Heat will not be playing their seniors, so it will be an interesting game. But the Bowling Green.
Technically a JV game.
Yep, Bowling Green Warriors looking for their first win of the season. All right, time to pull up the TSSAA bracket on our broadcast. Everybody, I got it pulled up here.
The TSSAA bracket.
TSIAA. If it was a TSSAA bracket, then it'd have everybody in it. But that's besides
and
the
it might
point.
not be dark as Hades. No, I'm just kidding.
It might actually.
I guess I need to hit play on.
It might actually
my
have
stream of the broadcast so I can follow along.
Anyways, so the road to the playoffs in the north goes through Springfield. Road to the playoffs in the south goes through Franklin, Tennessee, and this Friday is going to finalize the north seeding on who hosts a playoff game in the first round and who will be traveling. But for the south, that will not be finalized. That will not be finalized until the eve of Halloween on October 30th between Lancaster and Ezell Harding. So this is the fourth season straight where the playoffs have not been finalized for the conference until this is the fourth season straight. They have not been finalized until the second to last week of the regular season or less.
Homework assignment for someone out there listening. When was the last time? And obviously, well, I don't think it's happened since they did the 16. Well, last year was the first year with the 16.
Yep.
But when was the last time that the first round of the playoffs, both teams hosting, were playing on rented fields?
Yikes.
Because both of the number one seeds are both on rented fields. City fields.
17 not it because it was Webb. 2018 not it because of Webb. 19.
It was CCS and Ezell Harding. Both have their own fields.
So own fields, and then of course 2020 it's going to be rented fields.
16 was Sacred Heart.
It was FCA and Lighthouse.
Was it Lighthouse?
Yeah, Lighthouse Webb.
That's right. So
and then 15.
So Lighthouse.
15 was FCA. I think CCS hosted Classical, didn't they?
Yeah, 15. CCS hosted Classical.
14
was FCA, and Lighthouse went to Grace.
Yeah, and
or Lighthouse. Lighthouse hosted Grace.
Yep.
So.
And then that goes back to 13 if there was any.
Webb.
13 was
13 Webb hosted. 12 CCS hosted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really the first year, and of course again only the second year of the 16 playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But both of the second round games are going to be on rented fields.
Because the question is, I know Classical hosted in 9, 10, 11, assuming they were the number one seed in the South. So I wonder who that other seed was. Who the other
it was Aaron Academy. Oh well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Academy
were they the high seed or were they low?
So CCS hosted in 11.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron hosted in 10, I know. So it would have been Aaron Academy and FCS in 2010.
Aaron Academy and FCS 2010. So 2010 probably, unless somebody corrects us. So this will be the first time in 10 years that that one round of the playoffs will be hosted on
non-championship. That the non-championship playoff game at the same time will be hosted on non-school fields.
Yep, that's pretty interesting. All right, well that's the bracket we have for now.
Just
It'll
a
be
little
updated.
nugget.
Yep, it'll be updated after the result of Lighthouse Christian Community this weekend, as nothing else occurring this weekend impacts the postseason. All right, as Zachary is not here, but we continue our regular segment of Sound Off, where color analyst for Friday night, Jack Helwig. Time for your Sound Off. Give us your thoughts on some big things you saw going into going from week 9.
All right. First of all, I'd just like to say this. Let's get into the Sound Off. Right, there we go. Did it actually sound good though?
I think so. I don't know. You're the sound guy. You're supposed to know.
Right.
I have my headset off. So, I'll actually want to talk about some other stuff besides the game that we covered. So I'm going to make it short and sweep about the game that we covered. Riverside, like you said, everything was picked out for them to win. Hence why I picked them. I mean, the 2-year coming off leukemia, homecoming, all those things played a factor. But also Riverside looked really good on paper. And, the matchups were there. And they played very good.
You mean with Crutch Rizel and Raymond Hunt?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The matchups were there on paper and everything like that. So it wasn't like it was a bad pick, and it turned out to be a great game. definitely glad we chose it, honestly. And there's no really – I usually, give a lot of flack to a lot of teams in Sound Off and things like that. But I actually don't have anything negative to say about either teams because they played well. And anything I did say that was negative was at the first half and was corrected in the second half because there was a lot of really good defense played in that game for a game that was 66 to 86, which is really shocking because you look at the score and go, my God, what happened to the defense? but no.
It was a 7-on-7.
Yeah, it just – all I'm going to say is it was – both these teams played very well. It was hard fought. Unfortunately, a fumble into a touchdown kind of put the nail in the coffin for Riverside and, a last-minute interception. And I really do think it was a coaching thing, and not to say Riverside's coaching was bad per se, because what I was giving them flack for was, they just kept on running plays through two people, and I basically said, if you want to win this game, you don't want to tire out your stars. You need to get other guys incorporated early.
Same
so
thing
your
that
other
happened.
guys can.
Same thing that happened to South Haven in the FCA game.
Yes. So the thing is, if you're ever starting 8 people on an offense, you should be confident in every single person you put on that field. I understand with some schools, like injuries and all kinds of things play a factor. But if you don't think a guy can make a play, why are you playing him in the first place? And again, I am not giving flack to anybody. Everyone played well for the most part. I mean, there were some mistakes, but that's the game of football. It's just with Riverside, you're going against a guy that just won state championship last year, a guy that's fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, how can you not get hyped if you're in this position? You come in to a game where you're facing a team that it's their homecoming. Everything is looking good for him. You want to be the heartbreaker, no Shawn Michaels. I mean, you want to go in there and just rip their soul out. And that's exactly what they did. They fought like dogs.
And you got smacked. Now, granted, it was on their field.
Yeah.
But you got smacked by Ezell Harding twice last year, once in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, like, Ezell Harding just really just were dogs about this game. They really just came through, and I feel really good about them. And that's actually kind of what I want to get into is Ezell Harding in playoffs. Because this is the first time I've ever watched them. So what I really would want to see, and this will be a really loaded top half of the bracket, but first round of the playoffs, CCS versus Ezell Harding.
Oh, a rematch.
If Liddell,
If Ezell Harding hosts, though.
Can't happen.
Oh, wait.
Yes, it can.
Yes,
no,
it can.
no. You said if Ezell Harding hosts, CCS would. Well, actually, yeah. You're
Yeah, I was
right.
gonna say, I'm looking at
my
the bracket.
apologies. My apologies.
So
yeah, it can happen.
It can happen. Yeah, my apologies.
And if Liddell is in the game, it's game over.
yeah, truthfully.
I mean, I could be wrong.
But if it's at CCS and Liddell is in the game, what do you think?
Then I think we find out if Friday night's game would have been that way on CCS's field.
Yep.
I really want to see that because that's gonna be where the fun.
You know what I wanted to see? I wanted to see Riverside CCS. I think those are two teams that would match up really well.
I did too, and then Riverside, just couldn't pull it through. And nothing against them, You win some, you lose some. That's at the end of the day, that's what happened. So I just love seeing this bracket of Ezell Harding versus CCS in the first round. Ezell Harding hosts. That's gonna be a great matchup. Going into whoever wins that plays South Haven. That's a tough 2-game stretch for whoever.
What about Ezell Harding South Haven?
That's on the road. What I will say is if that first
is on
round
the road.
if that first round game happens between CCS Ezell Harding, rematch of the 2019 state championship at the same location that it was hosted last year. Which that would be pretty interesting.
That would be pretty.
But then again, you could get Ezell Harding or Lancaster playing South Haven for the first time ever.
That is true. That is true.
And that's what I was kind of going to. It's just like I want to see that.
Yeah,
that is the game that I want to see.
And because Lighthouse, you've got Deuce and Manny Dang. And then if you get Ezell Harding, South Haven, you get Liddell versus Dang.
So
and that's no disrespect to the guys around them. Guys from Ezell Harding like Valbuena, guys from South Haven like Crawley.
Valbuena showed up.
Valbuena, dude.
He was pretty good.
And the dude's only a junior.
Uh-huh.
Like the dude was a dog as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a junior, he's quietly had one of the best defensive lineman years
So let me just
overall,
So y'all are
in
gonna
my opinion.
So y'all are gonna have to walk me through this, and you're the bracket expert here.
Bracketology.
What a guy. So if South Haven was the number 1 in the North, which they are,
They are.
and then Easel Harding's the second in the South, and they play CCS, and Easel Harding has home advantage in the top of the bracket. So that would mean that Lighthouse is playing Lancaster in the bottom.
So the way it works is that it's supposed to be so that the number 1 seed in the North collides with the number 2 seed in the South. So that's the way it would be set up.
But if for instance, like last year, 2 South teams won.
Yeah.
So they went with the better of the 1 seeds.
Well, no. It's formulated that way. So, like, the reason Easel Harding and Riverside played in the semifinal is because Riverside beat the number 2 seed in the North. If South Haven won, it'd be number 2 seed in the North facing the number 1 seed in the South.
That makes sense.
So that's permanently fixated. It's not like it's weaved around or anything.
Okay.
It just happened to be that it was South Haven got beaten by Riverside, and so it was Easel Harding Riverside in the semifinal. It doesn't get moved around. To answer your question, yes, if Easel Harding was number 2 seed, and if they win, they would face off against South Haven in the semi.
Okay. So looking at, like, let's say everything goes according to plan. Let's say South Haven plays Easel Harding, which we all really want to see.
Whew.
At the bottom, who do you guys want to see face FCA then? Who's the ideal matchup for a really good game?
If the other game is what?
If it's
Easel Harding versus South Haven.
He's talking other semi FCA. How about a rematch of 2017 semi and not in hypodermia-infusing conditions?
Which one? What's that? CCS?
FCA CCS. How about a rematch of the 2017 semi between Flanders, and this time Flanders is on the road. Not just Flanders, but Flanders and company is on the road at Franklin.
It wouldn't just be. It would actually. So it would be a rematch of 2018, but in 2014 they met in the playoffs as well.
And the 2015 state championship. So it'd be a rematch.
New
That's
coaches,
a big rivalry.
New coaching.
Well, new coaching for FCA.
How about this? FCA and South Haven have the number 1 seeds with first-year coaches.
That's incredible.
No,
it is incredible.
it's the
That's
facts.
finalized. It's incredible.
It's big facts.
I mean, 2017 South Haven with the first-year new head coach
Went to the state championship.
and FCA. I mean, they did the same thing. It was Tim Pettit became the head coach of the football team in 2015. It was Robinson before, and all the stuff went down with that in 2014. But technically, FCA did have a first-year head coach in 2015 lead them to a state championship.
And Adams came in 17, didn't he?
He was on the assistant staff in I believe
No,
14 and
in
15.
17 he came in.
Yes.
So then in 17 they didn't play in the championship, but then they won the consolation
game against Webb.
So
yeah.
first year coaches for FCA, it's something about turning the culture over or something.
Something
as
about
long
South
as you get
Haven
a first
too.
year coach and then you have Shaka there, that formula tends to work out pretty well for
At
you.
least in the first season. Same thing with South
So
Haven.
FCA cycle through coaches every couple years.
Yeah, and the same thing with South Haven too,
I'm
because
just
they had.
kidding.
I'm sorry, I'm stealing. This is your segment. I don't know why we're taking it up the majority of it, but that's.
To be fair, he did toss us a question.
Yeah,
and then
he
we
did
bunny-
toss that,
and then
yeah.
we bunny trailed off
yeah,
the question.
it's the same
so-
thing with South Haven. I believe it was
It's good conversation.
Yeah, it is.
That's what the people want to hear.
Yeah,
they want to hear conversation.
What was it when South Haven lost in the national championship but won the tax championship? Was that
Yes.
with a new head coach?
15. I don't think so.
Before my time.
Was it
so
their
that's a
first
y'all
year
thing.
coach?
Let me look into it. Let me do some.
Because then
some checking.
2017 Zimmerman came in, led him to a state championship.
15 they were coached by Brandon Gonzalez, but I don't know that Gonzalez came in 15.
Then
Well,
just look at 14 and
Look
say
at 14.
yeah.
At least if they were
That's what
appointed
I'm
to the head
working
coaching.
on.
If they were appointed to the
Apologies.
head coaching helm, but yeah, it's an interesting formula. But you were saying
So if I know it's still early and things are kind of like going around, and I don't know if we're allowed to make predictions about winners right now for who do you think the champions are?
He's-
So
no.
Gonzalez's only year.
as the head coach.
No, not his own. Yeah. No, he came in at 14.
Okay, so he was the second year.
So it
coach.
was second year.
What did they do in 14? What was their record?
They won tax.
Okay, so the first year head coach for South Haven led him to a state championship. So same thing with FCA. It's the formula with them.
Their coaching history is what has been starting in 2007 is what this says. So it's been Scott Edmondson, Gonzalez. It was Mark Blevins before. So it was Mark Blevins who actually went on to coach at Pleasant View Christian.
Yep.
Blevins, Edmondson, Gonzalez, Zimmerman, or I'm sorry, Gonzalez, Crawley, Zimmerman, Sawyers.
Yeah. So whenever you have a new head coach and you have the
So
pieces in
Crawley
place,
is the exception for South Haven being a first-year coach and doing well and winning a state championship. I think they went winless that year.
that's the exception. But hey, Crawley's fantastic in the offensive coordination though.
Well, yeah, I mean, not every guy, and you see this in the NFL. Not every guy's cut out to be a head coach. Some guys just need to be assistants, and
Just be
yeah,
the supporting cast.
Yeah, they need to be able to just focus on one thing instead of trying to play that manager role.
Yeah.
You just manage the one side of it.
This
What?
is Matt Patricia.
Matt Patricia.
Any-
How does Adam Case have a job?
anyways,
Big facts, though.
God. So all I'm gonna say to wrap up sound off, where we go in predictions is this bracket right now that we're looking at is set up perfectly to have a lot of really enticing matchups for playoff time that I'm really excited for. And that was the first time covering He's a Harding, so I really couldn't get a good grasp of how good they were. But they look really good. And I understand it was really high-scoring games, but the offense looks loaded. Defense played up to par. I understand it would probably play better whenever they're not playing against absolute speedsters like Crutcher and everybody. But let's just put it like this. We could have a lot of really good storylines coming up in playoff time that you guys should really look forward to.
oh yeah, you'll be able to call one or more of those playoff games. Those hope the conference spaces them out so we can cover all of them. But
Absolutely,
if they don't, then I mean you'll be on the road for a playoff game with maybe James, maybe me. We haven't decided that yet.
I haven't done play-by-play in forever.
So I actually have an idea. I proposed this to Spencer whenever we were
Correction, I did it last year.
when we were at the game. Just something cool. And I don't know if y'all want to do this or whatever, but there's 4 people. We have a Twitter, and I was wondering, what if we let our people vote on who they want to see commentate games
Specific
together
games,
as a crew if we have to split up?
We can ask them.
There's
I
a
don't know if
chance.
they actually care.
I don't think they care.
Yeah,
I don't know either, but I mean, like it would be.
We'll
something.
ask.
We can't make
We'll
a
ask.
decision,
We'll see
honestly.
which one loves James and which one doesn't like James. We'll see which one likes me and which one doesn't like me. We'll see which one likes you and which one doesn't like you.
Okay, so correction. So
Everybody
I'm
loves
correcting-
Zachary,
so
though,
I'm-
so they'll vote for
So
him
let me
all day.
correct myself. Gonzalez, I said he coached in 14. He did not coach in 14. He coached in 15, 1 year, and that's when they won state and went to Florida. Scott Edmondson was the coach in 2014.
All right.
So that's 2 first-year head coaches for South Haven that won state titles.
Yep. And 2 first-year head coaches for Franklin Christian that have won them state titles, I think. Or actually, it's just
Zach said I wouldn't go that
one.
far.
It's one. Yeah, Zachary watching from afar. At least one that has won.
Listen,
at
I had
least one for FCA. And that
decent
was
idea.
Tim Pettit.
Decent idea. On my Twitter poll, whatever. Let's just leave it at
We
that.
might do an Instagram story poll.
Yeah, we won.
We
Alright.
get, we
could
get,
do all.
We get a little more interaction on Instagram.
We
Really.
could do all.
Plus, we have a lot more followers on Instagram. Thank y'all for that.
Yeah.
Shout
Which
out.
Go follow us
honestly,
on Twitter
okay.
too if you have Twitter.
Jack us up. Hey, listen, we're
We still got that
65.
pending.
We're 65 followers away from a grand on Instagram.
Yeah, 65 more, and we'll do the one chip challenge. Or at least those 3 guys will.
We're 65 away from a rack on Instagram.
So, are we ready to get into our lovely
Yeah,
predictions since we got
and-
Zach here?
Yeah, let me just say it's. It seems like every week we go over an hour just because of how much fun we're having.
We're
and
having a
going
lot
into
of
this
fun.
stuff,
It's
but-
discussion.
Mhm.
It's fun. There's a lot to talk about.
And there's a lot to talk about this week as we get to Week 10. Follow along on your helmet schedules from top to bottom. Week 10 as we get into this week's action across the 8-man football scene in the region. We'll start out with the matchup that is looking to be pretty good between Emmanuel Dang and Crutcher Ezel. Raymond Hunt, or it's not Raymond Hunt. Name is slipping my mind now. Riverside's quarterback. Rubelski versus
Jake
Andrew
Grabowski,
Qualley.
Yeah.
Jake Rubelski versus Andrew Crawley. Those matchups and among the other supporting cast around him up in Springfield between the Patriots and the Riverside Knights. By the way, Jack and James, you got to do your traditional rock, paper, scissors to see who's going to go first for predictions.
Zachary, I'm doing this for you.
Zachary's doing it for him. Rock, paper, scissors, and it. No! That is not an actual rock, paper, scissors. For those who don't know, Jack did paper and
I
James
popped
did
a
it.
cap in 'em.
James did a bottle cap
All right,
gun.
we'll do it legit. We'll do it legit.
All right, legit. He's
Producer
dead.
Jack.
He's dead.
You have killed me in cold blood.
Oh my
right, let's
goodness.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, and
And guess what? In the wide words, Zachary, I defer.
All right, James. This matchup. Now, we know you predicted South Haven to go unbeaten this year, and I always give you this chance in case you want to go back on your predictions. Even though 99% of the time you don't, I give you a case of that 1%. But this matchup between Crutcher Ezel and Emmanuel Dang, both rush-heavy players and the key pieces to their team in Springfield. I think in 2018, this was what we thought was going to be a preview of the MTAC Bowl. It ended up being Bowling Green. And Riverside. But with these teams comprised together, who's your pick? You still take South Haven, or you give Creasy the benefit of the doubt?
I love the boys. I got the messages too. We'll look at them after the show. Man, I love dudes on both these teams.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fayetteville has always been very welcoming, and I know the game's not in Fayetteville, but Fayetteville and Riverside has a special place. Just how welcoming they've always been. Coach Creasy's story, him being the reason you can blame him for the live broadcasts.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to give this as the reason for my prediction. And not just because it was preseason and not just because I think they'll win. It'll be a toss-up game.
Uh-huh.
But having been raised in Springfield, I'm going to stay with the hometown boys. Patriots with the win.
And it's a rematch of the quarterfinal from last year.
They're going to put Riverside back on the bus. Chug-a-lug-a-lugging to Fayetteville. They're going to have an extra piece of equipment on the bus.
A dub.
It'll be an L.
Oh. I've never heard someone say chug-a-lug-a-lug on a live broadcast.
Well,
ever.
now you have, sir.
Now I have.
It wasn't too bad.
All right, let's hear the
It wasn't
prediction.
that bad.
Let's hear the predictions. Jack, did Zachary give his pick, and let's hear yours.
Zachary said he's going to pick South Haven. There's too many athletes
Okay.
on the field for South Haven. So, man,
All right.
can't go wrong with that. Also,
All right.
I'm also going to go with
You can also take the bracket off of the screen now.
Big
oh,
facts.
Yikes. I apologize.
Doinks.
You good. Yoinks? Anyway.
And I'm also going to go with South Haven. Just I follow up with your points. I mean, South Haven's
What?
just the better team.
You're all going with South Haven, so you'll either go you'll either get 1-0 or 0-1 on that pick. I'm laughing at
It is a toss-up game.
I'm just laughing at Coach Crawley's comment there, saying
yeah,
"Wow"
yeah.
when you
Yeah.
said he's not a good head coach.
I didn't say that.
Well, you said
I
he's
said he
better.
struggled.
You said
He's a better coordinator, in my opinion.
Yep. Anyways, all right.
In my controversial, unliked by most, severely hated by many opinion. But I digress.
God.
The Sacred Heart of Jesus High School Knights, hot off of their first win of the season, travel to Antioch to collide with the Ezel Harding Christian School Eagles, who are also red hot off of their win on the road. So Ezel Harding comes back home to host a game against a team that's certainly had their struggles, the Sacred Heart. And the question is, I believe Jake Keel is out for the season, so it's all the weight is now on Bastable to try and get this going, and Mingledorf to try and get something going on the road against Ezel Harding. But, James, I don't remember what your preseason pick was for this game, but let's
I didn't tell you.
Yeah, you may have told me off.
Listen, I'm
off
gonna make
air.
a statement. If
All right, here we
Liddell
go.
is in for the entirety of the season, seeing what I've seen, these dudes might have a chance to defend their state championship
in the
championship.
Yeah.
I'm just putting
It's
that
possible.
out there. I'm not making that an official prediction.
Does that
I'm
depend
just
on who
putting
they
it out
face?
there. No, I don't.
It's
I
just
don't
all-
think it does.
Okay.
Dude is an athlete.
Yep.
And then you've got Valbuena coming from the defensive side. You still got Braxton Coleman punching the ball when he needs to.
Yep.
I'm taking Ezel Harding in this one.
And the last time somebody won a state championship back to back in the conference, it was 2010 and 2011 when Franklin Classical went on that three-peat of the state football championships. It's difficult to do. Christian Community has tried to do that in 2019, but just lost a lot of guys. And
Well,
2017,
they went 3 years in a row, and then it was loss, win, loss.
Yep, it's tough. All right, I see Zachary's pick there, but Jack, go
What
ahead.
did he pick?
Go ahead and read off Zachary's pick and give us yours.
Fake drum roll. I'm not good at it. He's picking Ezo Harding.
Okay.
He mentioned Kiel was too big of a loss, but your pick.
I don't know.
Alright, so-
Bastable is solid.
So listen here. Are you ready for
Alright,
this?
All right.
Sacred Heart, after a very hot win, right? After getting the first win of the season, they're going to go and they're going to come out and they're going to ride home with one of the biggest elves.
Such a build-up, man.
Nah, I cannot pick him. Nah. It's
It's such a
Ezo
build-up.
Harding. No, Ezo Harding's just, like I said, I'm rooting for them to go all the way to defend their state championship. There's no way that this team can beat them, in
And
my
keep
opinion.
and always keep in mind that any of your picks that are against a team, it's just motivation for them to prove you wrong.
Big facts.
That's how it is. So all of you taking Ezo Harding with a win at home. The Battle of Franklin occurs on Friday night. It's at Jim Warren Park, just across the street from Fred Lane Field. And for Classical, of course, this game doesn't have any impact on the playoffs whatsoever. Franklin Christian just trying to keep their undefeated season hopes alive as they collide with Franklin Classical. And last year, FCS snapped the streak of FCA winning the Battle of Franklin for, what was it, 4 years in a row?
I'm about to look it up right
Maybe
now.
5, something like that.
I'm about to look it up.
Yeah, I know. As he looks it up, it's one of these matchups where you still have Dooley at the helm as a quarterback, and you've got many weapons for Franklin Christian. It's going to be tough for Classical, especially with the injury bug that they have. But that's what you're here for, James. You're here to give your prediction on who this year takes the Battle of Franklin.
So I think they played it earlier in the season. Where is the Battle of Franklin?
Don't they have team history on Max Preps, or record history?
I
on
ain't trying
Max
to
Preps?
look at that.
I'll see if I can find it
So I ain't about all that now.
because they've
I ain't about that. I ain't about that life.
they got something. They got something in that.
Did we do it last year?
Yeah, we did it 17, 18, 19.
Cause I.
Zach says. I
Oh,
think,
oh, there it
I
is,
think
there it
there's
is,
a
there it
curse
is, there
on
it is.
my
Okay.
picks.
Okay, so going into last year,
Mhm.
Classical led the series 6-5, but FCA had won the game every year from 14 through 18, and then Classical won last year.
Okay, 14 through 18. Okay, so yeah, they broke a 5-year streak.
Yes.
Okay.
So the series, Classical leads 7-5.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna make it 8-5 Friday, baby. Classical with the win.
Well, I would say that's a certifiable hot take, but
So
if anyone could do it, it's Coach Austin and
so
company.
you picked FCS?
He's picking Classical, and even with the injuries, I know you picked it preseason, but even with the injuries, you're sticking with it. Okay.
I'm sticking with it.
All right.
Well, unfortunately, me and Zachary are both out to go against you.
Let me go timeout. Look how Lancaster played FCA.
14-6. Mm-hmm.
That Classical Lancaster game. Look how close that game was. Now I understand and
without
that was
injuries.
that was with Deuce hurt.
I'm also thinking about Classical as well without injuries.
That's fair.
Salstron's out
But
for the
they've
year.
had so many young guys step up.
They did.
I'm
That's the big
taking
thing,
the risk. I'm taking the risk on the Knights.
Zach said 6 + 1 = 8 ?
What?
And next person.
6
Math.
plus. Okay,
Math.
hold up. Okay, 6 + 1 means they're 7-5 currently, and then after Friday they'll be 8. You hick high schooler.
All right, so you're both taking Franklin Christian. You and
He
the
said math.
math. Yes.
He said he just had too many injuries for FCS, and I have to agree.
It was not.
Listen. I
It was
picked
a
Coach
scrimmage.
Austin.
What are you talking about?
I picked Coach Austin last time, and I think his hot seat has gone off the rails.
What do you mean it was a scrimmage, Zach? We
Uh,
need to figure out a way to get Zach
Yeah.
in here.
We know how to get him on the show. It's just he's focusing on fully recovering. He's
Anyways,
all he can-
but I digress.
all right. So you both got FCA winning, and the other
No,
game.
I've got FCS. He's got FCA.
So Freedom collides with East Coast Homeschool in a game that it's their last home game of the season aside from the Independence Bowl. But James, you got any predictions on that one?
Riding with the Cowboys.
Sticking with Freedom. All right.
Riding with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
All right. Sure, Zachary will give us his pick in a second. But Jack, who you got for Freedom and versus East Coast Homeschool at home?
Let me just say, first of all, Zach said brain injury. Remember? Question.
Inconsiderate. You don't remember this?
Oh.
Zach is gonna pick Freedom, and hopefully gives me a reason why.
What does the scrimmage have to do with anything, Zach?
You're giving him too many things. His brain's gonna fall off.
That's true.
No, I'm not
Who you take? Who you taking, Jack?
between Freedom and who are
It's
they playing?
East Coast homeschool.
It's Freedom.
Is that a question?
Yeah, Freedom.
I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. Is that like actually a prediction I have to make? I'm going with the home. I'm kidding. No, Freedom, please.
Freedom and homeschoolers too.
Freedom, don't let me down again this week.
Facts.
I picked you last week, and you had the lead. You blew
Big
it.
big
I
facts.
really want you to win.
Big facts.
On Thursday as well, the Bowling Green Warriors host a game at Western Kentucky University's Intramural Sportsplex to collide with the Tennessee Heat. No seniors. It's technically a JV game, as no seniors will be playing for the Tennessee Heat. Is this still part of your prediction schedule with all this, James? Or all right, what you got?
It doesn't matter they don't have the seniors. They've got guys like Aiden Luchtefeld, who's like the best sophomore in the state of Tennessee, potentially. You know, still want to see him and Deuce Bragg go head to head
That would be amazing.
in like some athletic competitions, like what they're doing with the Pro Bowl this year, where it's not a game and it's like contest. But I digress. Still taking the Tennessee Heat.
As soon
I'm
as we
waiting.
get,
I'm
waiting for Zachary.
Zachary.
Come on, Zachary. Who you got?
So who are the Tennessee Heat playing? I was focused.
They're
on
playing the Bowling Green Warriors, and they are
there's
not
no
playing
way
their
that's
seniors.
actually a question you're asking me too. Tennessee, yeah, we're both taking Tennessee.
Yep,
Heat.
he says Heat Luchtefeld proved to be the difference. All right, all you taking the
Big
Tennessee.
Hey,
Heat.
they also have Carter Sutton.
That is true. They got Carter Sutton because he's that's right. He's a junior. He's a
Tennessee
junior.
Heat is just beast.
All right, the extreme game of the week this week. We have a doubleheader, but first one on Friday is we're headed to White House Christian Community. They host Lighthouse Christian School in a game that will decide who is going to host the first round quarterfinal. And who will have to travel on the road the entirety of the playoffs to try and win a championship for their school. And we're excited to see Flanders and company. Saw them a few weeks ago when they traveled down to Franklin against the Classical School Knights. And excited to see their rivalry that usually is the last week of the season. They moved it back a week because of the scheduling changes. But excited to see how this goes down. So, James, the Colts host the Lions, who, of course, the Colts had their struggle in the beginning of the season. Lighthouse, unfortunately, has had their struggles the entire season. And they're looking like they give either team their.
Although they did beat Sacred Heart.
That is true. Lighthouse did beat Sacred Heart, and Lighthouse is looking like they may have something together here. But is it enough to oust Jordan Flanders and company at home in White House?
This game usually has playoff predictions.
Or implications,
It has playoff implications this year.
Every year, essentially.
But on Friday night, boys, it's going to be a good night in Robertson County because both Robertson County teams are winning the game on their home field and picking CCS.
Zach is going to say CCS. I think this team starts to click this week, and they have an offensive explosion, which I'm going to have to disagree. I'm going to pick against CCS. I'm going to take White House in the upset to have them go home. Or not home, but I mean, like, make them go on the road the entire time during
Make
playoffs.
CCS go on the road?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which matchup do you like better, though? Do you like Lancaster at Lighthouse or Ezel Harding at Lighthouse? I think Lancaster at Lighthouse. I think Lighthouse has a chance to be the dark horse.
I think they do too. Listen, I don't think Lighthouse is a bad team. I think they can compete all the way. It's kind of
they're going to be the dark horse this year out of all 6 teams.
Absolutely. I have a feeling that Lighthouse is going to come out very strong this game because they really want to get the 2nd seed.
And not dark horse as in like they could win it all. Like dark horse as in they are the underdog, maybe is the better term.
Yeah.
They are like the ultimate underdog out of all 6 of these teams in the playoffs.
See, if we were to talk about a dark horse, and I'll pull up a bracket really quick. If we're going to talk about a dark horse, we're going to talk about Lancaster. That's a dark horse.
Nah.
Why do you say that?
Nah.
Because I'm just kidding when I say that.
Okay. Yeah,
No,
you
an actual dark horse is probably be Ezel Harding.
Yeah. I mean, granted, they're defending state champions, but I mean, at least with the close game they had with Classical and then loss against Franklin Christian.
But they're not a number 1.
I'm just saying. I'm just putting this out there. If Ezel Harding has Liddell, I think they have a chance to defend their title in the championship game.
Yep.
I'm just saying he is that good of a player.
So we'll be in White House on Friday night, and then Saturday it's a primetime game for the only 8-man football game out of the teams we cover, occurring between Lancaster Christian Academy hosting LeBron Ferguson and company and the Providence Christian Academy Lions. Of course, both teams coming off of a tough close losses, and both of them on the road too. So Providence will continue to go on the road, not too far.
They only have a couple home games this year.
That is true. They Providence
only had one.
Yeah, I know. Providence has only had their they had only one of their home games because their game against Sacred Heart got canceled, which I'm sure that'll flip over next year.
They could make it up.
That is true. They could
on the first week of November.
They could.
They could make it
They
up.
could.
They should.
That was like
I think that'd be a good game.
Didn't
What do you think?
27
Providence Sacred Heart? I think it'd be a great game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially if it's the Sacred Heart team we saw yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Providence team that played last night and against Franklin Christian. I think that'd be a heck of a ball game.
Yeah, and
Dare I say?
Zach said I think PCA keeps it close, but LCA pulls it out in the end.
Here's the question: which game is better, Providence Sacred Heart or Classical Ezel Harding?
Classical Lisa Harding.
Really?
I think so.
You saying
well,
that because we've seen it and we
yeah, because
know?
that was overtime.
I go Providence Sacred Heart.
Well, we have to wait and see how that game turns out because we at least have one to reference off of. But anyways, yeah, Zachary is taking Lancaster on this one. He said that he believes Providence is going to keep it close, but Lancaster will take the victory in the end. So James, Zachary went first, even though he technically Jack deferred. But Deuce Bragg versus Providence.
It's at Lancaster.
Yes. I know you are.
Senior night.
Oh, it is senior night. Didn't know that.
I would assume it's senior night. I don't think
Probably.
they've had senior night.
Yeah, they had a homecoming. And
They've
probably
only had
senior.
one home game since Sacred Heart earlier this year.
Mhm.
They're going to stay undefeated at home.
All right. Jack?
Love you, Providence, but look, it's first year. You're going to struggle. Lancaster, their struggles are coming later on in the season during the playoffs, but your struggles are right now. Taking Lancaster.
What you got, Jack?
Ooh, Zach took Providence Sacred Heart.
Yeah, he said too many injuries for Classical.
Ooh. Ooh.
Can I defer?
No, everybody else is gone.
I just don't. I don't know. Like
Out of Lancaster, Providence, and Bragg is no longer the boot like he was for the Christian
Take
Community
Providence.
game. He's got the
I
dark
wish he had
hoodie
that.
on and everything, but
I will take Providence. Fine.
All right.
Fine. Just
All right.
because I can't make a decision.
Let's see if our picks are exactly the same later on this week,
yeah,
or if they differ any.
we'll see how it is with the one
We'll
who
see.
shall not be named, even
We'll
though
see.
we name him several
Voldemort.
All
times.
right, listen, that belt. I want that belt.
Yeah, you'll probably get that belt at the end of the season. Depends on if you can rally
Hey,
back.
listen, I predicted the regular season, preseason, but the playoffs, I pick week by week.
Yep.
It's a whole new game in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, 100%. Especially when it comes to the national championship, if he predicts those too.
But the advantage is, I make my picks public first.
Yeah, you make it public.
So
preseason.
So
Well, for the most part, but
How
your
about
usual
this?
Yeah, sure. I was about to ask what your shout
how
outs were,
about
but let's go.
this? Let's have a special guest on next week for the last week of the season and make our predictions live right here on the show.
Let's hope we can get him.
Let's do it.
Let's hope we can get him because of the equipment issues we've been having.
If you're down, you know who you are. Let's make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, let's make it happen. All right, so usual shout outs, James. Go ahead and give them before we get to the sign off.
Shout out to people that let us in the press box. Shout out to people who've worked with us all year. We absolutely love the folks that listen. We're already hauling around $3,000 worth of equipment. There's obviously always the chance of weather. So everyone who works with us and tries to help us, that really, really makes the world a difference, and it makes what we do worth it. It makes it to where we go into the game. Spencer, you and I talked about this yesterday.
Mhm.
When you do a game from bleachers, your mindset is totally different getting ready to do that game as opposed to when
Yep.
you're in a press box or a booth and you actually like your mindset. It's almost like people say, dress how you want to. You feel how you dress and you work how you feel.
Yes.
It's that same scenario. If you're in the situation you're supposed to be in, your mindset is totally different.
To be fair, of the venues that have a press box, because I
Fair.
will,
That's true.
because I will
That's
say,
very true.
Yeah, because I will say when I've gone to Classical or Lighthouse who do not have a press box,
Roll out the red carpet.
Yeah,
Love it.
they always roll out the red carpet
Love
first,
it.
and that does affect my mentality because I know going into it they
Well,
don't
and
have a
Bowling
press
Green
box.
as well.
Bowling Green,
Bowling
yeah.
Green can't
They-
help it.
and they always roll out the red carpet. They have a
Exactly.
pickup truck for us
Absolutely.
to broadcast from, which is better elevation than yesterday. Yesterday, I will say,
It legit is.
Yeah. but
Like no cap.
yeah.
It's also closer to the field.
no cap.
That's the problem. When it's so low, the further from the field you are, the worse it is.
Yep.
Like if you can get up near the field, it's not half bad.
Right.
But I digress.
Any shout-outs, Jack?
Just one really quick.
Ooh.
There was a
You
field
made?
goal made there on
Nice.
red zone.
I just want to give a honestly a really special shout out. You guys might know this guy, honestly. He's actually a king. His name is King Henry, and he absolutely him and Tannehill put the team on his back today to make the Tennessee Titans go 5-0 for the first time since 2000.
How about
Yep.
every time Derrick Henry rushes for 100 yards, Titans win?
Yep.
It's big facts.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Let's give it up for Derrick
Yes.
Henry, everybody. Give it up for Derrick Henry.
But also Ryan Tannehill, who
Ryan
has had-
Tannehill, yeah.
who's had more fourth quarter comebacks than anybody in the NFL in the
Let's
last
give it
like,
up for Julian Edelman getting 3 points and Cameron Brate getting 1 point.
I could have told you that. Hey, hold on, Zach. I actually want to know: did you start DJ Moore or did you start Edelman? Because I told you to start DJ Moore.
Sometimes he listens to you on those starting.
He
fantasy
does.
things,
I
man,
told
but-
him.
I think
said
we
put
should
the
just
rest
start
in.
shooting for the show going until 5:30.
Yeah, at this point.
45 minutes recap, 45 minutes preview.
Yeah, at this point, recap and preview stuff, and then AJ Brown got the one who shall not be named 20 points. So at least he started him on that one. It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not he shall not be named.
Okay, no, sorry.
RFCC
Jet.
Lebanon.
The
RFCC
Jet.
Lebanon.
Yeah,
The
the
I
Jet.
did not listen.
The
I did
Jet.
not tell you to start Edelman. I told you to start DJ. I told you to start Edelman, but DJ Moore was the riskier option because the matchup was there.
Hey.
Hey, keep the
Can
fight.
y'all act
for
like
outside.
a married couple off the air, please?
Do you have any more shout-outs then, Spencer, so we can go back to our married duties?
Shout out, no shout outs.
Well, no, that shout-outs was asking for you two before I sign off.
Okay, am I ready to?
Shout outs to, yeah. All
You,
right.
you got anything else, James?
He said.
Shout out to good football at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, we're getting
Shout
into
outs,
the
no free
stretch.
shout outs.
We're getting in the stretch.
He said it
and-
didn't matter. He had his opponent had Julio and Henry.
Julio and Henry. All right. Well, that's gonna do it. That's going to do it for Extreme Radio, presented by GracePointe Healthcare and Jets Pizza of Springfield, Fort Campbell, Clarksville, Goodlettsville. For James Shannon, Zachary Lone, and Jack Helwig, I'm Spencer Thompson. We'll see you Friday from White House for Christian Community Lighthouse for the number 2 and 3 seed in the North, and then Saturday for Lancaster, Providence Christian.
See ya!